So welcome back to 3D Sportscast. We are back. We're about a quarter of the way into the season now. It's been a little bit, but we're back with there's plenty to talk about. So
yes, the season's going great
for his Commanders.
Okay.
It's been a rough couple weeks, but we're still in a decent spot. Still promising.
We can't stop getting them.
Hey, honestly, we'll get into that. But first of all, we're gonna do this video is gonna be our AFC discussion.
Yeah, yep. So we're gonna do a quick third way through the season
breakdown of some of the teams. And so with that, we'll start with the our team,
Billy Bills,
the Buffalo Bills. Yeah, you know, it's like we just said, it's been a tough couple weeks, but it's not anything to be concerned about.
There's a lot of promise.
I think,
yeah. You guys are definitely still. I still don't think that the division is even a.
We're going to win a division.
We're going to win the division. The Jets don't look great.
The Dolphins with two out.
The Dolphins with two out don't look great. The Patriots are bad.
So it's our division. So that's a good thing.
To lose. Josh Allen
he's looked like an MVP.
Phenomenal.
Now, the last couple weeks have not been as good.
Maybe
but
just this last week.
Yeah.
He'd been throwing the ball extremely well.
His completion percentage is like.
The good thing is he's not turning the ball over.
I read the stat. It is the worst completion percentage ever for someone who threw over 30 passes last week. So that's not great.
So that's not great.
But he still looks phenomenal. He still is the heart and soul of this team.
And the good thing about that is despite how Allen struggled, despite the injuries, which is another reason why we're struggling, I think, a little bit. Once we get healthy, we'll be fine.
Well, when we say struggling, I mean...
For the Bills standards.
It's mainly for... your record is worse than the team actually is. Because you guys are 3-2, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So it's not... it's not. They're a good 3-2.
Yeah,
it's not a bad 3-2.
Well, and again, like I said, with the injuries and despite Allen's struggles, we had a chance of winning that game against the Texans. So there's that. And
the teams you've lost to are
the Ravens and at Baltimore and at Houston. Yeah. Which going into the season, this was the stretch where I said this is our toughest part.
Yeah. And the Ravens and the Texans both look to be Super Bowl or bust teams at this point, which is odd for the Texans since they had the number.
And so now we've played them once. Yes, we lost. We have them on film. We get healthy, get to the end of the season. We can make some noise. We should win division. So
yeah, most definitely.
That's that. I think the one thing though that we've talked about is, especially with the injuries, Khalil Shakir being out, our lack of weapons really showed.
That's a big thing. You guys got rid of...
with Diggs gone, Davis gone.
Diggs gone, Davis.
Shakir was our number one, and you lost him, and it's like...
Yeah. And the thing is, his numbers, he was definitely the best you had. He definitely was playing better than his skill level just because of Allen.
And
like, Allen was elevating his play.
And even with Shakir, he's a good slot receiver. I don't know if he's a true number one
receiver. I mean,
it
could be something you guys trade for...
Well, I know Devontae
Adams.
Although my only thing with
is what do you have to give up?
Yeah, and my thing too is Devontae Adams is a great player. Don't get me wrong, but is he too much like the reason?
He is kind of a diva,
and that's the thing.
I don't think he's as bad as Diggs.
Are we willing to basically get another Diggs type? So
it's a
there's
risk.
that.
And honestly, what are they going to make you give up? For that? They're not going to give him away. He's a Hall of Fame receiver. That nobody's even questioning that. So is it worth it when you guys aren't playing bad?
Yeah, exactly. We're not the biggest market team, first of all, and then also with paying Josh and some of the guys we have, we don't have a lot of money left over.
And honestly, you guys are still a good team. It's probably not worth it what you would have to spend to get him. So
but either way, it's been a rough couple weeks, but we're in a great position still.
No, still look good. I would be, not thrilled, but I'm still pleased.
And I'll say I'll be a lot more concerned if we lose to this next team we're going to talk about this week, who we're playing, which is the Jets, who just fired their coach, have not looked great.
They shouldn't have fired their coach. It's dumb. I think it was an Aaron Rodgers wanted him gone, so he had somebody to take the blame.
And Rodgers is not.
He's old.
He's okay for his age, but he's not prime Rodgers anymore.
He's a 40-year-old Aaron
coming
Rodgers.
off an Achilles injury, so
definitely declining.
Not only is he coming off the Achilles injury, he's old.
He's playing. This is the first year actually playing
in this offense. It's like Tom Brady ruined old quarterbacks because now everyone expects them to play with the poise that Tom Brady did.
Yeah.
When Brady went to the Bucs and won a Super Bowl in his first year, what was he, 42?
And the fact that he did that at that age with the new team is unheard of.
It's insane.
It's not,
we will never
see
it again. There's a reason Tom Brady's the GOAT. Like, it's not normal. people don't have athleticism and health that long into their life. Tom Brady's an anomaly. And I think people expected too much of Rodgers, just expecting him to go in there, especially after the Achilles tear. That isn't helping at all.
He's still playing somewhat decent considering.
And part of the problem is the Jets are still the Jets too.
Yeah.
The Jets are not as great. And Rodgers, being at his age, not the only...
I heard a stat. Aaron Rodgers has more 3-interception games in his time at the Jets than Zach Wilson did in his whole entire time.
And I also saw that so far, 5 weeks into this, into the season, they've scored the same amount of points this year as they did last year.
Yeah, it's not good.
And I'll say this too. I think as much as we want to talk about Rodgers obviously is not as great as he once was, not in his prime. He's not even the biggest concern because I think their O-line has been terrible. That protection is part of why Rodgers hasn't played well as well. Yeah. And their defense is good, but not playing up to the standard we thought they would.
I mean, if you would have told me before the season that the Jets' defense was not going to be a top 10 defense, I would have been like, okay, probably not. But they just don't even look like it. They maybe look like a top 15.
I will say there has been a couple games, too, that they lost, that their defense probably did enough that they could, their offense still held them back. Yeah. But the defense, everyone was talking like this was going to be the best defense ever.
Well, and then part of the problem is the amount that Rodgers is turning the ball over. Their defense is spending a lot of time on the field, and eventually it doesn't matter how good your defense is; they're going to fall apart. So,
that's true,
but the Jets still look how they
and it's still the Jets. So that's that. And with the Dolphins, I think the biggest thing that we haven't talked about yet, it's been a couple weeks late, but Tua. I mean, and that's really shown is how poorly they played since he's gone out. Another concussion for Tua.
Yeah, the Dolphins.
That was scary.
The Dolphins are a good team, but it goes to show how important a good quarterback is to a good team. Yeah. Because without him, they look atrocious.
And not only that, it shows how important having a decent backup is.
It does. Having a good backup quarterback is quintessential to having a good team.
I mean, they were talking about ideas like getting Tom Brady.
To bring him back. It was never going to happen.
No,
but
I mean, that shows you how bad.
How desperate they are with their backups.
It's so bad to the point that I believe Tyreek Hill has. There's people saying that he might want traded.
Yeah,
that's how bad the situation is with them not having a quarterback.
And I will say too, with Tua's injury, obviously. We know his history of concussions. Mm-hmm. That was not it was a scary injury.
And we even talked about that before the season.
With that, the weird thing is Tua kind of did it to himself. He
did in that play where he got the concussion. I do believe the NFL cleared him to play again. I just don't think the Dolphins have said he's going to play.
And I think he will come back eventually. How long, we don't know. And I think with his history of concussions, you don't want to rush him back. But part of why he's had that is because he's as good of a quarterback as he is, he has not done a good job protecting himself. He's been prone to this type of injury.
He's going head first too often.
Yes.
And when because we knew, even before he was drafted into the NFL playing,
he had some injuries in college. At Bama, yeah.
We knew that he was going to be injury prone.
Yeah.
So when you know that you have, and it's not like the Dolphins aren't trying to protect him. They have a good line. Their old line is not bad. It's not great, but it's not bad.
Injury, it was him running.
He dove
into DeMar Hamlin's chest of all people in places.
The two most fragile things in the NFL.
So that's that. And with the concussions, I don't want to spend too much time back on my team, but we talk about Josh Allen's performance. He also
looked like he got a concussion.
And he came back in the game, and that's another thing.
He was knocked out for
his head bounced off. Now, mind you, he was scrambling under pressure. It was just one of those instances. It wasn't like he put himself in that situation. But again, football, physical sport, it happened. I'm interested to see what comes out of that.
I've actually, and that's another new thing this season, the Guardian caps. You're actually seeing a lot more of those as the season goes on. Mainly linemen.
And you've seen some defense, tight ends, defensive players.
Those bigger guys.
I don't think I've seen a quarterback.
I have not seen a quarterback. I don't even think I've seen a running back.
No, it's mainly
linemen and linebackers.
Quarterbacks are getting hurt though, man.
Yeah, they probably should.
So I'm my thing though is I'm curious with the concussion protocol. Still, there's some things about that is
maybe
interesting.
They'll add something like after a certain amount of concussions, you have to.
Because that's something about Josh Allen obviously doesn't have the problem that Tua has. He's a lot more tougher, durable guy as
Well,
far
he's
as
like
that goes.
4 times the size.
Yeah,
It's
that's
like-
true.
Yeah.
But still, when you see that, it's concerning,
Mm-hmm.
and that's part of what happened on Sunday too. And it's just curious to
Yeah.
see if we see more of that this season, just with the NFL concussion protocol, how that goes. Obviously, Tua has
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
been the biggest
So, but moving on to
conversation with that. But anyway,
the final team in
Patriots,
the division,
yeah,
the Patriots.
still not good.
They're bad. I don't understand
We didn't expect them to be good.
Yeah, no, we knew they were going to be bad. I don't understand why they're not starting May. They finally announced that,
And they
week
are going to
6,
start May
they're
now.
going
Yeah,
to start him,
but they have.
but not starting
Yeah.
him. It makes no sense. Okay, we're going to wait 6 weeks to start him because of health reasons. Okay, your line isn't any better now.
Yeah.
Your O
got
line
the
isn't
same
protecting
team.
it. It's the exact same team, and he didn't learn anything behind
sitting
Jacoby
for,
Brissett.
what, 5 weeks? Yeah.
I think Brissett passed 200 yards once.
And Brissett is
Not that he's not good.
Is an experienced quarterback, but,
but
with this team,
he's
it's
not going to learn anything. It doesn't make any
Yeah,
sense.
I agree.
Start him, get the experience.
Yes.
Who cares if he plays bad? Like if you
Yes.
have to run a bunch of short throws, craft your offense for a rookie. I
And-
don't understand it. It's a dumb
And
decision.
I think with that decision, it's either you sit May the whole year, but now
Yeah,
to
but
start
now to
him
start him in week
6
six,
weeks
it
in
makes
doesn't
no
make any
sense.
sense.
Now it's probably going to be rough
Yeah.
for the rest of the season.
Exactly.
so
they
that's-
should have just started him from
from the
the
beginning with,
beginning.
yeah,
It's
so-
dumb.
And they're still bad, so that's about all we got to say about them.
Bad. We knew the Patriots were going to be bad.
Well, let's move to the AFC West now. The Chiefs,
They're
undefeated.
undefeated.
They're good,
they
but
don't
not
look
great.
They don't look like the Chiefs we're used
No.
to. Like,
But we said this last
Still
year,
winning.
and
Yeah.
Still
we saw what happened.
undefeated.
But
but I think this year, you always hear about the refs being a little bit
Yeah.
questionable.
there's been a couple
There's
games
been
already
so
this year.
many calls.
that have
Pretty
been-
much every game.
Like every game,
Except
it's
this
like
last game
this
already
calls.
decided by that call.
Well, yeah, but
There was mainly 2. It was the
the Baltimore
the-
game was a toe thing.
but it was the
guy-
Cincinnati game.
The Cincinnati game pass interference.
And then
call,
it was
man.
the game against Atlanta where they didn't call pass interference
Oh,
against
yeah.
the Chiefs.
Mhm.
With back-to-back games, those were the 2 games that were very
Yeah,
suspicious. But
but they're still a good team.
and they've gotten banged up too, and
They
despite
have,
that,
they have.
they found ways.
Yep.
I thought-
Kelsey finally had a
Let's
good
get
game
going.
last
Yeah.
week.
And another
Mahomes
thing-
still hasn't.
He hasn't
blown
played great,
it
no.
away.
But another thing that's interesting is the fact that they keep finding ways to win. And it's funny. I thought it was funny last night that the announcers pointed out. You hate losing players, but a coach like Andy Reid, you almost feel like he's accepting the challenge and actually enjoys.
Yeah.
Like, okay, these guys are out. I'm still gonna figure out ways to win.
Yeah, exactly.
You
And,
know-
and again, I think it goes to show how good of a team the Chiefs truly are. Like, as much as I like to hate
And-
on them,
yeah,
they
well,
are. a
well, the
good
thing
team.
is
They've
I
won
think-
3 of the last 4.
I
Super
agree
Bowls.
they're a great team. I
Right.
agree Mahomes is a good quarterback, but I do think Mahomes gets too much of the credit. Where they're just a good
He
team.
does.
Yeah.
Like,
You
they're
know
a
what I
good
mean?
team as a whole. He's not. Like, there's
He's
people saying
good.
he deserves the MVP award. He doesn't.
No.
Like, he doesn't have the stats
And the thing
to
is,
win MVP.
I'm not saying he's not a good
Let's be
quarterback, but he's
honest.
not like this. He's not Brady. You know, that's what they're comparing him to. Brady. He's not Brady.
Most
So-
valuable player means player that, like,
Is
without
the-
them, their team would struggle.
Which
I don't
honestly,
really know if
can
they
we give it
would.
to Tua even though he's dead?
Yeah, well,
Like-
and that's why I'm surprised Josh.
Team
That's
He
why
was
I'm
way
surprised
better.
Josh Allen hasn't won it yet.
Yeah.
Because if
Well,
you take
this
Josh
year-
Allen off the
yeah.
Bills, we're terrible.
Exactly.
Let's just be honest. You know, so
That's nuts.
Yeah.
anyway,
But,
let's go to
moving on to
the
a-
Broncos.
Pretty surprising.
The
Yeah.
Broncos look great. Bo Nix has been improving week on week. I
He's
don't
not.
know
He's a
what
rookie.
his
he's not
ceiling
great,
is.
but he's gotten better already.
yeah, he's gotten better
And
already.
the thing with the Broncos is the defense.
Their defense
has
has been
great.
the thing keeping them
Yes.
in these games. I didn't really expect them to win much at all. I thought Bo Nix was going to be a big downgrade from Russell Wilson
And
last
really,
year, and honestly,
no, we haven't
it
seen.
looks about the same. But their defense is playing better.
And the
So
fact
honestly, they're a little better.
And the
than
fact
they
that
were
Bo
last
Nix
year.
is only a rookie too, he's only gonna go up from
Yeah.
here.
A
So,
lot of
Yeah.
promise, yeah.
so that's about really all we
Yeah.
got to say
Oh,
about
also-
the Broncos. But
Their throwback jerseys were awesome. And
yes,
they need to wear them
I
every
agree with
week.
that.
The blue helmet.
Forget
I love the
old
throwback.
jerseys. Wear these
Well,
all the time.
I think their current jersey that they just started wearing now are their worst jerseys because like
I
even
would agree.
their
They're boring.
other Broncos jersey with the new logo
Yeah.
was better than the.
The,
But yeah, the
throwback
throwbacks were
jerseys
beautiful,
awesome. They
so-
had the throwback like medical cart with the old style
Yeah.
helmet. Like, it's funny. But the next team in that
The
division,
Chargers?
the Chargers.
They're not bad. I mean, they
No,
play
I mean Harbaugh has adjusted right back into being an
Yep.
NFL coach.
Herbert. I think is good, but his health has been an issue.
Yeah, he's getting banged up. They're 2-2 right now.
And the teams that they've beaten are the bad teams and the teams who lost to. So are they really good or are they bad? We don't know.
The season needs to go on before we can really make a
because
true
they've
verdict.
beaten the teams that they should have beat, and they've lost to teams that are good. So it's like they're kind of right there in the middle where we don't know. And they had an early bye week too, so it's kind of like.
So it's going to be. I think by the time week 8.
We'll start to know a little bit more.
8 to 9 rolls around, we'll get a much better sense of what the team is. But as of right now, they don't really look bad, but they don't look
great either. Yeah, so, they're kind of there.
Yeah, the jury's still out on that one. So the next is going to be the Raiders.
This team has done bad.
I love Gardner Minshew. He is my favorite.
He's not in a good situation.
He is not a starting.
And he's not a starting quarterback. He's not.
He is one of those where he is a. If you have him as a backup, he's an invaluable piece because if your quarterback goes down, you know you have someone who can still run an offense, but you can't rely on him.
You can't build a team around him.
And
with the drama there too, we talked about Adams wanting out. Even Max Crosby maybe too.
The Raiders need to accept their fate. Go into a rebuild. They need to start rebuilding. They need to trade Adams, get some picks. Even if you only get a second or third rounder, who cares? You're getting something because right now you have nothing.
Yeah, and I think
take what you can.
I agree. They now officially need to just accept they got to go into rebuild, and that's that really for the Raiders. But now let's talk about the AFC North, which has been very interesting. And you
can start with the Ravens.
The Ravens
they look like arguably the best team.
Well,
in the
remember
NFL.
we talked about a little bit ago. They started off slow, but there was just the toe against the Chiefs. Who did they? Oh, they did lose to the Raiders, which was very.
They did. That was a little bit
weird.
of a fluke thing because I just.
But since that loss, they have looked.
Oh, they've looked phenomenal. Derrick Henry is insane. The offense. I think the issue early on was they had Dobbins a couple years ago who was extremely good.
Who's now on the Chargers?
Actually, on the Chargers now, and he is looking pretty good.
Yeah, he's looked pretty good
when he's staying healthy.
Yeah, that's that.
But now that they have Derrick Henry, who, as good as J.K. Dobbins is, Henry's on a whole different planet.
Well, Henry's the best running back
Henry's
still
the best running back in the league.
He keeps getting better
He does every year.
It's like, oh, this year he might not be as good.
And then he pulls off a 90-yard run.
And you pair him with Lamar, who's a mobile quarterback.
Yeah.
That's a scary. And their defense is good, too. So,
they have the second best run defense in the league. Like, the Ravens... Again, just like last year, are a Super Bowl or bust team. They look phenomenal. They look like the best team in the AFC, possibly the NFL.
And I know in our next video we'll get to your team, but that's an interesting matchup this next week with the Commanders and Ravens.
That is going to be a big game.
I'm interested to see how that goes.
That could be, I think, is probably going to be the most exciting game of the year so far.
I agree.
And we didn't even expect it before the beginning.
But hey, that's the thing we love about the NFL, the unexpected.
Oh, you never know what's going to happen. Never know what's going to happen.
So next we'll go to the Steelers, who have also had a decent start to the season.
Surprisingly good.
We've talked about this before.
Every single year, Mike Tomlin, man, if you want to make money, bet that the Steelers are going to have a winning record.
Yep.
So, and I guess on another note is Justin Fields looks pretty good.
Yeah,
this is arguably looks to be his best year so far.
And this just goes to show you get a quarterback in the right situation.
Yeah, because that's
in Chicago. It's just
which
not great.
We'll get to Chicago.
We'll get to them in the
on,
next video. But
the Bears did not coach Fields right, and I think the Steelers knew that.
Yeah.
They and for as good as he's playing, they stole him from the Bears.
Well, and the Steelers are obviously like we talked about
rounder or something
like
a sixth rounder, something crazy.
We've talked about our well-coached team, and the Bears are another one of those teams that have not had a lot of good quarterback success in their history. So
and the Steelers are one of those teams too. Like we talk about needing a good backup. Like they got
Russell Wilson there too. So that's another thing that Fields is the guy. I think, but Russell Wilson
Fields gives them
there.
a future, but Russell Wilson could help them win now if Fields goes down.
And we'll see how that plays out. But either way, the Steelers with either guy, I think, should be
and somehow
good.
Even with the Ravens in the division, the Steelers now, at this moment have a shot to win the division.
Now they haven't played each other yet, so they're playing each other twice. Those will be big games too. Probably one of the biggest rivalries in the AFC, so that'll be interesting. But Steelers are in a pretty decent spot.
Yeah, if I was a Steelers fan, I would be happy.
You know who's not in a good spot?
The Browns.
Is the Browns.
They are looking bad. Deshaun Watson, one possibly worst starting quarterback in the NFL right now.
Should have kept Flacco.
Should have kept Flacco.
Should've
Definitely.
Kept Mayfield or that.
Yeah, honestly,
To be
if
honest
we
with
want
you.
to really be technical here. Also, that was the worst trade ever in the history. Other than
the
maybe
Bears,
the Bears
Panthers
trade.
Yes.
But
Well, the thing is let's just say the Browns management has been terrible for
oh
years.
yeah,
like,
it's the mismanagement.
they make
don't
they
know
make
what
bad
they're doing.
decisions.
Mhm.
Like I said, as soon as they got Deshaun Watson in that trade, like what are they did, like? It's not only Deshaun Watson hadn't played football in a while, and he's been bad and been banged up.
All of the legal
What's the legal stuff? Yes,
Just like it doesn't make any
that's
sense.
what's really been bad.
Yep. And the craziest thing, and this just goes to show that it doesn't matter how good your defense is because the Browns
Have a good
a top
yeah.
five, probably a top, I'd say top 8 defense
I mean,
in the NFL.
last
I
year
don't know
their
if I'd say
defense
top 5,
carried them,
but-
and with Flacco they made it to the
Yeah.
playoffs.
Yeah.
But their defense or their offense is possibly the worst offense
It's been
in the
bad,
entire
yeah.
NFL that we've seen in years.
Now, mind you, Deshaun Watson's been bad. Nick Chubb has still not come back
Yeah.
yet. Amari Cooper's a good receiver, but not got him involved. He's been
I don't give a bad quarterback.
yeah,
it-
exactly,
it's bad.
exactly. So
So it goes to show that a defense can only carry a team so far.
And so,
like you need
yeah.
a quarterback. And Deshaun Watson is not it.
and with that, this is a team who's also been
Yeah.
bad but
It's
good. like
Yeah, this is the Bengals.
the Bengals.
So
yes. Last right
Joe-
now in the division.
yeah, last in the division, possibly the best 1-4 team ever.
Maybe. Now, the thing with that is, like, I think they are better than 1-4, but at the same time, in the NFL, you know, in college we talk about what's your resume, this, that, when we're talking
Yeah.
about the NFL, none of that matters because
No.
you are what your record
Yeah,
is.
you are
know?
your record. That's it.
So,
period.
but I do think they're better than
They're definitely
1-4.
better than 1-4.
Joe Burrow.
The thing is, I don't understand what the problem is and why they're playing so bad because Joe Burrow is playing great.
He started
But the
off slow,
problem
but he's
is,
played great.
He
Yeah.
literally, for them to win, Joe Burrow has to play perfect.
He threw 5 touchdowns this past
And
week,
they
and they
lost.
still lost.
That's
Yes.
how bad the team is playing. But Joe Burrow is playing lights out. I mean, he looks and like if they had a better record, Joe Burrow would probably be in the MVP
And I
conversation.
think part of
If
the
he's
issue
not.
here is we've had some drama. Joe Burrow came back from injury, started slow,
Mm-hmm.
now playing great, but it's really that defense is just not.
No, it's
They're not
looking
bad, but
good.
they're not done enough. They just
No,
can't find a way to
they're
win
not,
games.
No, they're not. And they're you know there's some drama there on the
Yes.
team with people being paid, things like that.
And that's
cheap
part of the
ownership.
issue is like
Mhm.
if you want a Super Bowl contending team, which the Bengals are and could be, you gotta
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
find a way to
you
pay your
have to- you
players
have to pay
and
your
get your
players.
players,
Yes.
like you said, motivated to play well. Because if not, that's a recipe
how
for
your
drama
team, that's
and
how
disaster.
Teams fall apart.
Yeah.
That's how seasons end.
And unfortunately, the Bengals are very close. They're a good team still, but they're very close. A couple of things go wrong for them to
if,
fall
if
apart.
they don't
Yes,
win,
it just
if they don't
fold
string together
quick.
a couple wins and get back to at least
It's-
500,
it's gonna get
maybe
ugly,
over for
maybe.
them.
Yeah. So
No, on the other side of the street,
yeah,
we have the Texans.
top team in the AFC. Now, mind you, the AFC South is not great, but the
But
Texans
the Texans look
have looked good.
phenomenal.
Especially
Yeah.
the last couple.
They
of
are.
years.
I would say they're a top 3 team in the
No,
AFC.
mind you, their only loss
Like-
was not great to Minnesota, but we'll get to them. They look great.
Yes, that's
but,
a whole other story we'll get to.
We'll get to them in the next
Next
video.
video.
But yeah, Texans, other than that, have looked phenomenal.
CJ Stroud is having an amazing sophomore year. There's no
Yeah.
sophomore slump. He a little rusty the first game, first couple.
Didn't look great against the Bills either, but did
No.
enough still to
But he did
win
enough
the
to
game.
win.
Yes.
And to have the poise that he has doing it. It's not like
Yes.
he doesn't look like a sophomore. He looks like
He's
a
a
veteran.
guy that is in not only is a good quarterback, but in those situations where you must have it, he comes through most of it.
Oh,
He's
he does.
very,
he is
very
clutch. He
yes.
has that gene. And I just their story is so amazing with the fact that 2 years ago
They were the worst
They
team
were
in the
the
league.
worst team in the league.
Yeah.
They had the second overall pick, and now we're talking they could be a top 5 team in the entire NFL.
And it may be Super Bowl
Super Bowl or
for
bust.
them,
It
yeah.
could be. Like
So-
that's insane.
Probably the best 2-year turnaround we've
Ever
ever
in the
seen.
history of the NFL.
And they got the talent.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see where they go. They're going to win that division, obviously. Like I
they're
said, in a
gonna,
bad
yeah,
division.
yeah,
So
division's bad.
Easy.
let's see how they do. But so far, they're
Yeah, they look
pretty
great.
tough.
So on to
Team in that division that is good, but
Interesting, weird
not good.
the Colts.
The Colts. Yeah.
They're
Well-
really decent, probably because Joe Flacco was a winner.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah, Joe
other than that,
Flacco.
I mean,
Well, let's
So
say this.
the funny thing, they're They played Anthony Richardson a lot. I think they're moving towards Joe Flacco.
And Anthony Richardson's great.
Anthony Richardson,
Yeah, he's got
very
potential.
possibly could have one of the highest ceilings of a rookie quarterback ever.
Yeah.
Like some of the throws this guy pulls off, like 60 yards in the air off of one knee, perfect placement.
Yeah. And then
and
see
then
the
he'll
next
throw
play.
3 picks
Yeah.
in a row.
So, and another thing with Anthony Richardson is also he needs to stay healthy because remember last year's rookie year,
he hurt himself.
he was out. Now, while Flacco's playing, he's also been banged up again. That's been the issue.
Yeah. I feel like they need, honestly, Richardson needs someone like Joe Flacco
Yeah.
to mentor him, to sit behind, to develop. And it's something that we talk about quite a bit off the camera is we don't give rookie quarterbacks time to develop anymore. The CJ Strouds,
Jane Daniels, which we'll get to.
Daniels, which we'll get to later. This is not normal. It's very atypical. I mean, you look at some of the best quarterbacks ever. Tom Brady, Pat Mahomes,
Aaron Rodgers,
Jordan Love. These guys they're sitting, 2 to 3 years before they play. It takes time. You have to develop.
Or they just
or like
play
Josh
bad.
Allen,
They just
who had
play
a bad rookie year until
guys
learn.
are writing quarterbacks off the first year.
Yeah.
Well, look at Bryce Young, right? I mean, he was thrown in expecting.
He's in a
they
bad
expected
situation,
the team
too,
to
so,
turn around.
like-
Yeah, that doesn't help.
It's just yeah.
But
So-
it's just a shame.
So that's the thing. The Colts are a decent team. They're not there yet. Anthony Richardson's got to just needs more time. And even with Flacco, as good as he played last week, they lost in a bad. I mean, they scored well. It's just,
I mean, Flacco looked good. What do you have? 300
yeah,
yards.
they
and
lost
3
to the
touchdowns,
Jaguars, that's also a defense is not.
yeah.
So the Colts are just kind of.
It doesn't all look bad
Yeah.
for the Colts, but they're
not
it could be
great, but
better.
it could be better. So
next
where
team,
it's not
which
look great,
definitely does not look good,
is the Titans. And the weird thing about the Titans is they actually, not that they're a great team, but they could have a way better record
They
than
could.
they do. If Will Levis just stopped giving the
Yes.
game to the other team.
Yes, so
Literally
basically,
hand it to them.
Talking about quarterbacks being clutch.
Yeah, he's
Will
the
Levis
opposite
is the opposite.
of clutch. I think he's thrown three game-ending interceptions in the fourth quarter.
And I'll say
in
this
the-
too.
just the
We
season.
talked about Anthony Richardson. It's the same with Will Levis as far as his potential is so high. He just mentally makes dumb decisions.
Yeah.
Like he's physically gifted.
And he's
a
kinda
good
weird.
quarterback,
He
but he
does
just makes
weird
bad
mayonnaise
decisions.
commercials.
That's another thing. Mayonnaise man is
The mailman.
yeah, but no, it's just that's really now. Mind you, it doesn't help. They don't have Derrick Henry now. They're kind of in that rebuilding
Yeah,
stage.
they're still rebuilding. I don't think anybody expected them to be good.
But they could be better than they are.
They
It's just
definitely could.
Will Levis has got to get out of his own head. That's really that.
I do think Will Levis could be
give
the
him
QB
time.
of the
He could
future.
still be good, but
They're still in the rebuilding process.
yes.
It's going to take.
So they're just not there yet. So
Final team,
The
in
Jaguars.
is that Jaguars.
and they finally did win that game, like we said
Yes.
against the Colts. Lawrence, what was it,
That's a
an
good game.
8-9 game losing streak? He finally got a win.
Yes.
But they're
They're
still
bad.
not great. Again, their defense is bad. They
Their
gave up a
defense
lot of
is
yards and points to the.
awful.
Luckily, their offense played good enough to win. But Trevor Lawrence, I don't know what's going on.
I think I said this last season's preseason. Lawrence is going to run out of forgiveness here eventually.
Yeah,
This is what, his fourth season?
it's getting to a point where it's like, okay, you're past your rookie
he has
growing
yet-
pains.
he
You
has
have to
yet
play
to
him.
have his-
He hasn't improved.
He's gotten worse.
Yeah, he's
His
actually got
rookie
worse.
season was his best season.
Yeah.
Well, I think it was his second because his rookie year was the year they had Urban Meyer, right? And they were kind of.
Oh yeah, you're right.
it was the
his
second year where they
second
made it to the playoffs, and
He hasn't done anything
Since then, yeah, he's been
gotten
bad.
worse
So,
every year. They definitely.
and he's not. It's like he's another guy that's got a lot of potential.
Yeah,
Not
the thing
terrible,
is
but
it
he
the
just,
team around him or is it him?
I
What is
don't
the,
know.
What's the answer?
It's just they haven't
know?
been good.
I
Something's
think-
wrong there.
A prediction I'm going to make. I think. Excuse me. If the Jaguars are really, really, truly bad the rest of the season and they have a top 2 pick, I think they trade Lawrence to draft a quarterback.
I
not
wouldn't.
a bad
I
move.
wouldn't be surprised.
As old as he's getting, I think
How much time do you want to stick
A
with?
team like the Dolphins, they've got good pieces, but maybe Tua gets injured. They don't want him to play anymore. They pick up Lawrence, or they still have, Tua, and they want somebody just in case he dies
Yeah.
again for the 18th time.
Yeah. Which at this
Maybe,
point,
and
yeah.
then they could get some more draft capital back, whatever, go into another rebuild. But they need to do something. Lawrence really is running out of runway.
Yeah, I agree. It hasn't been it, and maybe Lawrence just needs a reverse Samson.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you just cut
Cut
your
his
hair.
hair.
And maybe
hair.
you'll start
It's
playing good.
the answer.
I don't know. And it's
It's
like,
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean, his hair's not that long, but
But yeah,
Well,
still he cut it. It's counted.
it's just I don't know.
Yeah.
What is it with the Jaguars? I
you
think
need something.
something's got to
Change
change. And,
something.
Bring Urban Meyer back. I think that's the answer.
and I know Lawrence, he played good with the long hair in high school and college, but you got to change something up, Jaguars.
Luck's running
not
out.
Yeah.
So I don't know what it is, but so far it's not been a great
Yeah.
season for the Jaguars.
But for the AFC as a
With
whole,
that
though,
finishes up the
Yeah.
AFC.
it has been a very interesting start
First
to the
5
season.
weeks,
I
yeah,
think
we're already 5
not
weeks in.
as interesting as the NFC, which we will be getting to
In the next video, which
video.
stay tuned to watch the next
Yeah.
video. But
But
yeah,
it's been a fun season.
It has been
I'm
fun.
glad NFL's back. I missed football. We're a third of the way through the season.
we're
and
getting
I
into
can't
the
wait.
meat of the season
Yes.
now. So
It's gonna be
we're
fun.
starting to figure out some things about each team,
Yeah.
and the
Yeah.
important part of the season is just around the corner.
Yeah.
So
So,
with that, we'll see you guys in the next video, which will be on the NFC here in a
Yep.
little bit.